I'm really good as well.
So today I want to ask you a question regarding smart cities. So as you know, smart cities or
Yeah.
smart technologies are the are the important concept these days. So what is your take on this?
Well, smart cities. I think smart cities is a very important concept in today's era. Smart cities are all about digitalization, and this is what we need. We're living in a world of computers and automation. So that is what we need. Actually, as a matter of fact, my thesis is also focused on smart cities and Industry 4.0 in a little bit. And I think smart cities can solve so many problems in the future. Like congestion, and they can just help people, have a better life and a much more organized life in cities. Everything would be planned and everything would be perfectly planned, more efficient by computers. And I think that's what we need. So that's my take on it.
Thank you. That was a perfect answer.
Hi, I would like to ask you some questions. Firstly, what do you think about the city of Singapore?
I don't know much about Singapore, I've never been there before, but from what I've heard, it's a pretty impressive city because of how it's managed to develop so quickly in such a short time. But there are, of course, drawbacks on the sides of human rights and stuff sometimes.
Alright, thank you. And what do you think about smart cities in general?
In general, I think they're incredibly promising, but I guess Singapore acts as a example for this. I think smart cities are important, and I think we should push to have them, but we need to also remember that we shouldn't give up human liberties in order to have these smart cities.
Alright, thank you very much. So I would like to ask you some questions. Firstly, what do you think about the city of Singapore and how they're transforming to being a smart city?
I think it's really interesting. I haven't followed it closely, but I think the smart city is a really cool concept, and I look forward to visiting it in
Alright,
Singapore.
and what do you think about smart city in general?
I think that's how cities are going to look like in the future. So I'm excited for it.
Alright, thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
I'd like to ask you some questions. Firstly, do you think it's a good idea to integrate technology in your life and to a certain extent?
I personally think it is a good idea. It depends on to what extent exactly it's integrated. If technology is, if I am dependent on technology, I don't think it would be a good idea. But if I can use technology to my personal advantage and benefit, I think I would very much welcome that.
What if you use this technology in cities, to use it for smart houses, smart buildings, and smart cars and things like that?
I think that would be actually also very beneficial for living in cities. So that would maybe even be better for the environment. It would facilitate a lot more the infrastructure in cities. So I would also say that would be a good idea. But again, it depends on to what extent privacy, for example, is interfered with, if at all. And if it is interfered with, would we want that? And I would say no interference on privacy.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for it. So I'd like to ask you some questions. Firstly, what do you think about smart cities in general?
Well, I believe that smart cities are the future, actually, because I know that we are at an age where everything is interconnected and we need to be connected to the internet in order to have things done. We cannot imagine a life without internet, especially our generation. And so I think smart cities will just help us be more efficient in general.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Freddy, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
So today I want to ask you a question about what do you think about smart cities?
First of all, there should be more of them, there should be more funding. So, for example, in case of Amsterdam, they have many e-loading stations for electric cars, for example. They got lots of Wi-Fi hotspots in the city and new green areas, for example. And I think that enhances the ability of a city to, first of all, grow and second of all, be ecologically friendly. So I think there should be more funding about it.
Nice. I see you're more interested about you have an interest of how Amsterdam uses smart technology.
Yes.
What do you think about the city of Singapore?
The city of Singapore, that's actually really interesting because they recently built those really nice parks and invested huge amounts of money. And they also think that the housing problem was resolved very nicely through government funding. So I think Singapore is one of the best cities to show how a smart city can be and what it can be in the future, for example.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
So today I want to ask you about a question. What do you think about smart cities?
I think smart cities is the future basically. It's much more helpful. It will help us control the environment. It will help reduce the waste. It will help bring sustainability back and basically remove all the dependency on renewable, non-renewable resources and shift towards renewable resources. So it's good, I guess.
So have you ever heard about like the city of Singapore and how they're trying to make their city smarter?
No, I haven't heard of detail.
What do I say now?
I'm good. You?
So I want to ask you a question today.
Sure.
What do you think about smart cities in general?
Smart cities. Well, I think it's a lot of potential in the concept, but also a lot of danger. Because the more data you produce, the more counter attack you create, and the less you're in control. But of course, you can outsource lots of activities. You can optimize the flow of traffic, anything basically.
So have you ever visited a smart city? For example,
Not
city
that
of
often.
Singapore.
When I visited it, it wasn't smart yet.
Oh,
It was in 1996, so I doubt that it was smart back then.
Would you like to go back and experience the new city?
Why not? Of course.
Really, that's really nice. Okay, thank you for your time.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
So today I want to ask you some questions regarding smart cities. What do you think about them in general?
It's definitely the future. It's all about using that raw data you have of a city to actually give valuable information to the user and to connect devices within a city to give helpful information to people in the city.
Have you ever visited like this kind of smart cities in your experience?
In what context are you talking about smart city?
Like for example, the city of Singapore.
No.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So today I want to ask you basic questions regarding smart cities. Like, what's your take on them?
I don't exactly know what you mean with smart cities. Can you give me some explanation, some context?
So smart cities are basically a city that's digitalized and they're interconnected with internet, and then they have sensors and they have basically smart buildings where everybody can share their information.
Okay.
So what do you think about this kind of cities?
Well, now that we're living in a, I think, more globalized world, I'm assuming that more of these smart cities are up and coming. So there's great use for them because as humans now, I think we're more dependent on technology than ever. So it's clearly very important that we have access to things such as internet, such as technological devices more than before. So.
Have you ever heard before like any smart cities in the world?
No, I mean, I would assume there are some, but I'm not 100% sure, no.
So basically, city of Singapore is really is like trying to be a really digitalized city by 2020.
Okay.
So do you think like this kind of smart cities will take over in the future?
I mean, well, is Singapore the only one, or is it one of the main ones?
It's one of the main ones currently.
Okay, so I'm assuming since that these are, gaining a lot of ground, and as more appearing throughout this, I guess, century and throughout these future years, I'm assuming they're going to be acting as like leaders in I guess, kindling the transition towards smart cities in the future. So.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Hello guys, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm really good, thank you for asking. So today I want to ask you about general questions regarding smart cities. What do you think, like what's your take on this kind of cities? Smart cities. Do you know what smart cities are? Okay, so I'll give you a brief explanation. So smart cities are like cities that have been interconnected with each other through the Internet of Things, and then everybody can share this information for their personal use, nor like for to foster the sustainability of the city. Yeah. So having said that, what do you think? What's your take on this kind of cities?
It's interesting. It's a interesting future. You know, the potential of these things is always pretty fascinating. Yeah, I think it's exciting to think about how cities can change and how it can benefit people. So,
especially during this time where technology is advancing very, very quickly. I think integrating it into a city will be very, very useful.
I guess so. I guess you have not heard about the city of Singapore being a smart city, since I just gave you a brief explanation. So, like, do you think this kind of cities will be the future?
Urbanization is really, it's like the next evolutionary step of urbanization, I guess.
Do you think they will take over?
Sorry.
Do you think they will take over, like, basic cities, like, all of them will be transformed into this kind of digitalized?
If everybody sees the benefit,
So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Haley, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for asking. So today, I want to ask you some questions regarding smart cities.
Of course.
So what is your take on smart cities?
I think smart cities are the future. It's probably a really good idea, and it's going to lead to a more interconnected world where communication will be increased, and I don't know, this will probably lead to more efficiency in the future.